Wow. Welcome to another episode of Knots and Bolts and Top of the Cop podcast with me, Mark, and Ara. How you doing, Ara?
I'm alright, Mark. How you doing?
Not bad, not bad. So, rumours started circulating on, was it Tuesday afternoon around the club that Roberto was on his way out. I'm not going to say his second name because I think I've like butchered it enough. It's a strange one, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I was actually talking about him as well on that day, and then I found out he left the club. So like, if I start talking about more people, maybe they'll leave.
Yeah, but it's like the brothers don't really get rid of anybody like
No.
instant, do they? You know what I mean? The statement was sort of weird as well. But you're going to Gillingham on Saturday? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I am. Maybe.
Maybe. Did you go to the 2-1 win last season?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
David, that was like an half 12 kickoff as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, 12. So I think I set off around like 6:30, 7 o'clock.
And we should be having a Gillingham fan on in a bit.
Yeah.
Where am I going? I need to come out of that one. There we go. That's where we are. So, do you think we can win this weekend?
Well, I mean, every single Gillingham fan that I came across said we're going to get absolutely battered 4-0, 5-0, whatever. But last time Tranmere was in the same position, we beat them. So maybe we'll beat them beat inside again, and who knows? But yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, the most of what I've come across as well, whether it's Gillingham fans or fans from other clubs, they're saying the same thing, that we really haven't got like much of a chance.
Yeah.
On Saturday. But as I look at it, from watching Bromley Gillingham game Saturday night, I think Gillingham was really, really lucky to get that penalty at the end of that game.
Which wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, which weren't a penalty, but once it's been given, put in the back of the net. I disagree with when Sky interviewed the striker who won the penalty, and he says, "Yeah, it was definitely a penalty," with a smirk on his face. I thought, yeah, you know it weren't a penalty, but
yeah,
that'll probably even its way out over the season. But going back to our game on Saturday, it was one of them tough ground out wins. And I think
smash and grab.
Yes, well, it weren't really. Well, it was in the first 20 seconds a bit of a smash and grab. But most of our fans, the more that half went on, like got the impression that Fleetwood was going to get an equaliser, because that's how it felt, didn't it? In that game,
it was like, I think going back to the Bromley game when we were winning. Well, when we went 2-1 up until I think 80th minute they scored, equalised.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking, I think it was, did they show 6 minutes of added time in the 90 minute, or was it a bit less?
6 minutes, wasn't it? On Saturday, yeah.
And I was thinking, oh no, Fleetwood's going to score. But luckily they didn't. But I was thinking up until we scored that they were just going to score. Or maybe score again, like last season away at Fleetwood when we went 1-0 up to a George Abbott goal, and then Fleetwood just clicked. And even though they got a penalty, they scored again, and we didn't really change the momentum. I could see it being like a type of that game, really, but it wasn't to be for Fleetwood. I thought they was unlucky with some chances that they had. I thought they should have found the target, but that's what happened.
See, on Saturday, I thought they should have had a penalty. I think there's enough contact from Jata to warrant a penalty. But I don't agree with I forgot his name now, the Fleetwood managers assessment of the game. Yeah. I don't. Did you watch his interview after the game?
No, I didn't. I was gonna, but yeah.
So basically, he was saying they controlled the game. You know,
No, I
and
didn't.
I can't say that they didn't control the game. You know what I mean?
No,
They had a lot of possession. They had a lot of free kicks. I said
yeah,
this to my lad yesterday. I goes, it seemed like the stats don't back it up, but when you're there and you was watching it, it seemed like they got a lot more free kicks than the stats are saying.
and it seemed like that we had a lot less corners than the stats have been saying. Wasn't it like? Did you
We were
say
supposed to have,
9?
yeah, 9. And so it
Yeah,
was
it
like,
didn't. It didn't seem like 9 when I was there. Well, maybe.
no. I was shocked at that we had 9 corners in that
Yeah,
game.
me too.
And I was also shocked that we only had 3 yellow cards. It seemed more.
I mean, for both teams, it really seemed more, didn't it?
Yeah. But the referee had a really poor performance in that game.
Yeah, I think he killed it off for both teams. To be fair.
Because it weren't free flowing, was it? There was a lot of like free kicks what another referee wouldn't probably give.
Hmm.
But the balance of the free kicks were equal.
No.
You know what I mean? The Fleetwood seemed to get free kicks for the least little thing where it was sort of like Cantor, even I think it was Traore, I think, who was getting old down in
Yeah.
the cop that side, the
Hmm.
side of the Cyril. Had the linesman's there is getting pulled and pulled and pulled, and the linesman or the referee didn't give nothing. And it's like, well, how comes that's not a free kick? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I mean, Fleetwood were lucky they didn't get a red card to be fair, because I think some of their tackles and that stuff towards our players were worthy of a red card. But then some of what we did to them, like I think, yeah, that penalty shout. I don't really see it that much because obviously where I sit in the cop, but it did look like a penalty when I saw it back.
Yeah, it's thinking I had like a good view, and I also had some like footage of that, and I'm like thinking we got away with one there.
Yeah, because I thought the penalty that we got awarded at Newport, I think that was kind of the same thing, really. But
Well, no, not similar because Dennis came running in, didn't he? Like he was running into the box. It was like, was it outside the box, inside the
I think,
box?
yeah, yeah, but not like in the same like thing. But I meant
Yeah,
like a penalty that wasn't really a penalty, but yeah,
yeah. But don't you think, right? So last year against Fleetwood, the
mm,
2-2 at home, which was what the first home game of the season, Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff. We was
yeah,
2-0 down by 46 minutes. And then we clawed it back. Jody Jones equalised, made it 2-2 with a penalty.
yeah,
Now, I think just watching that game on Saturday, we were a lot more physical. And like, this is bringing Gillingham into it. Remember last season when we had Port Vale at home? We got bullied.
yeah, mm,
We got kicked off the park. Gillingham as well. You
yeah,
look at that Gillingham game, they was hacking into Jody Jones like no tomorrow.
mm,
But I don't know whether it's like other teams seeing us as a weak, like we're not that. Yeah, we can pass the ball around, but we're not going to get into a physical battle. Well, this season, we're getting into some physical battles.
yeah. Because I think last year we had a weak squad, like not in a way like to get the points and that stuff, like not as good physical strength like players in the team, but yeah, I think we was getting like pushed off the ball a little bit too easy. And yeah, I think we improved. I think we can see that we improved in the physical mind of things. We're getting into those physical battles that you need to win to get the ball forward up the pitch or keep it in your own half.
Yeah, because I think I think the most physical we ever got last season was when Jack got sent off
Yeah,
in the playoffs semi-finals. You know what I mean? And that came out of frustration because he was getting his shirt pulled and everything else, so the referee not giving anything. Now, this season, now, Matty Palmer, was sat there. I think that was verging on a red card. I know he slipped and he's fault, you know what I mean? But Jamie Vardy, he slipped in a Premier League game and got sent off a few seasons back. So, and you got less chance of getting that like overturned in like League Two. And that. So I don't know. Should we had a player Palmer that could have gone either way? I've seen players set off for that. Do you know what I mean? So, but what do you reckon? What's been bandied around all the day? I think it's coming from like the Paul Rysdale or Peter Rysdale, Preston North End, like chairman. I think he is CEO. Is about like in the National League having like 2 elimination games, and then you play like the top 2 in positions in the playoffs, extending that.
I've seen a bit of it. I haven't really looked full into it yet. I'm going to possibly do that after this, but yeah, seeing a bits of it is like, I don't agree with it, to be fair, honestly. I think, and also with the EFL Championship, obviously making it a 6th playoff position?
Yeah, that's what the thing is. But then they'll say they're prioritizing like the Championship, and then leagues 1 and 2 will follow or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do that, you've got to have it done at the same time. You can't have this uneven thing.
Yeah.
But then it comes down to, well, if you're in League 2, you're in the Championship, you're in League 1, you play a minimum of 51 games. Well, in the Leagues 1 and 2, you play a minimum of 51 games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then you add in another game in it, and then another game. So say you finish. So where would that take you down in League 2? What's that, like 9th? You're going all the way down to 9th.
Yeah.
So then you got like 2 teams playing each other, and then 4th and 5th all play in the semi-final. So that's an extra 3 games if you're like finishing like the 9th position. But I know like the one, you probably get like a team who finishes in 9th going up rather than the team what finishes in 3rd. But is that fair? You know what I mean? I can remember before the playoffs where you just had straight promotions. There was no playoffs, you know what I mean? So is it fair? Is it unleveling the playing field? Because look at York. Look how they was with that break in between where you got that eliminator, the season finishing, and they just weren't up for that game when it come to play like the semi-final. So you got that aspect of it. If you're going to sit around, you've got to sit around 2 weeks before you play another game. But then are they going to make them one leg? Do you know what I mean? Or the elimination ones, are they going to be 2 legs? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think they're just changing a lot of the game at the minute, aren't they, really?
And then you got the old VAR situation as well. Should we have VAR in League 2 or a version of VAR in the Championship, League 1 and League 2 as well? But my argument with that is if you got poor officials anyway, and believe you're gonna need more officials, aren't you? Because to run VAR, you're gonna have like a staffing of it. So you got what? You've got 12 games in a League 1, no 13, isn't it? And 13. And then you got like all the fixtures. So there you're looking what? 39, 40 extra officials you've got to find to sit on the VAR. Then you got the cost to the clubs as well.
Yeah.
Then you got all the technology. I just think of like it has its pros and cons because you're like the handball rule. It's so no one understands it now anyway. But
Well, they
that could
change it all the time.
yeah. But that could either save you by having VAR in, or it could like go the opposite way. It'd go against you.
Well, I don't know with VAR. Maybe if we had VAR in that Bromley game versus Gillingham, maybe that penalty wouldn't have been a penalty. But yeah.
And we have got West Country. Jules, who's there as well. Let's add you in. Evening.
Good evening. How are we?
Not bad, not bad.
Good.
So, are you looking forward to the game this week?
Yeah, more so because I'll be taking my niece to her first ever Gillingham game. So it'd be a special one for me, I think.
Don't be too upset if we beat you that bad.
Yeah. No, well, we're looking to extend the run, but I'm very pragmatic about victories and losses. So you're all right on this front.
So you've had a very good start to the season. You was very lucky on Saturday to still be top. That penalty was a bit dubious,
to say the least. It is an awful call, awful. I don't know whether you've seen the clip, but the referee Durkin, I think it was Aldershot. He sent a goalkeeper off 3 days before, and basically what happened in that is that ball come through, goalkeeper cleared it, their player ran into the goalkeeper basically, and he sent the goalkeeper off. So yeah, he's particular to a few strange decisions, I think.
And in your opinion, because there was a dodgy penalty against Chesterfield as well, if I remember right, looking back at it.
Yeah. So the first one was a bit iffy. So the goalkeeper actually got contact on it, I think. The second one was a bit was more confident that it was a penalty because they jinked through the defence and then the defence just put their leg out. So, but yeah, like you know, as well as I do over the course of the season, you're going to have these going for you and against you. So we're just riding our luck a little bit at the moment with those, I think.
So Ainsworth, since he took over, he's on an amazing, isn't it? Something like 19 unbeaten.
Yep, yeah. If we remain unbeaten at the weekend, that will equal our best record of 20, and that was from the 70s, I think, maybe.
So when I can remember when Ainsworth was appointed, his appointment was sort of like not 100% welcome by some Gillingham fans, if I remember right at that time.
Yeah, so we've gone like a bit cyclical with it. So we had Harris, and then they got rid of him, and then got in Clements. I do believe was it Clements, maybe. And then that didn't really work out. So then we got in Bonner, and that didn't work out. And then I had Coleman, who kind of steadied the ship and got back to basics and got a little bit more fight into the squad. And now we've had Ainsworth come over, but when Bonner got, I don't know, before Bonner, I actually wanted Ainsworth to take over back then because I've seen Wickham, I know what he's done with them, and his character kind of aligns with Gillingham very well. So I started watching them in 96, 97, I think. So I was watching them all throughout the Pulis era, and they were hard-working, they were gritty, they were really hard to play against and to beat, and they just ran all day. You know, they were proper grafters. And masters of the dark arts a little bit as well. So and we have Ainsworth, and yeah, he aligns with the club personally. I think there's a different feeling around the club from when Bonner took charge as well, because even the younger ones are getting involved now with all the dark arts and stuff. They just like people trying and the effort put in.
So if we go back to last year's game at Meadow Lane, did you come to that game?
I was not there. No.
He's got a smile on his face. See, knots have changed. I don't know if you've seen knots since last season.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I think from what I've heard is that you're a bit tougher to beat and a bit like you're grinding out results now rather than nice football per se. Is that correct?
Yeah. And say like we got bullied last year a lot. Yeah. Gillingham did it. I mean, It's wonder Jody Jones is still walking from last year.
Yeah.
But we seem to be a lot more physical, and we're not going to get pushed around like we was like playing this passing football, and like teams could just push off the ball and stuff. We've got a bit more grit about us this season. And so I think players who was at Gillingham last year and remember the game at Meadow Lane, I think, well, we can do a bit of that. We've got some more dark arts this season, what we didn't have last season.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting because the last 3 fixtures, the away sides won it. So, like, you won at our place last year, and we won at your place 2-1.
Yeah, no, I remember. I remember the McGoldrick dink. That was quite a class goal. But yeah, it should set things up quite nicely for the weekend. We've just come from like quite a physical, direct game with Bromley as well. So, and I think we tried to out Bromley, and it just didn't work for the first 45 minutes. So, but it corrected itself in the second half somewhat. But yeah, no, like it sets it up quite nicely for the weekend. I don't really know what to expect because again, like we've got the same squad from last year. There's a different feeling around the place. We've got a bit more fight. But again, with you changing your style of play and how you go about things, it should make for an interesting match.
So we don't know about if Jody Jones, because he's been away with Malta. There's things that he's been sent back injured, so he might not play anyway. But you've got Dennis, you've got Jatta, you've got Newborn, you've got Iapenda, there's a lot of class in that side. And what we noticed when we played Fleetwood on Saturday is we grinded out a result. It weren't pretty, it weren't nice to watch. It was pretty boring, but 3 points, and that's all what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be interesting from our perspective as well because our back line looked a little bit jittery against Bromley. So Smith in particular, I think he was at fault for like not merely at fault, but he was like out bullied and out muscled a little bit through cheek. So it'd be interesting to see how we line up because we've got a few wingers in now, so we might go 4-2-3-1, or we might stick with the 3-5-2 that we've been playing most of the time. So it'd be interesting to see how he sets up on that front, and it'd be a good test for our defenders again. So to see, test their mettle and see how they're gonna do. Because again, like we've had Masterson out an injury, Shad's been out for a little while with the calf, I think, as well. So it'd probably be Gale, McKenzie, and Smith again. If they do go with the 5-3 at the back, but again, as I say, it's another good test. Like we beat most a lot of the teams in the top 7 at the moment, so I don't think we really fear anyone. But again, the identity of the team is still just kind of coming through with the addition of the wings and stuff. So again, as I say, it's just more of a learning match to see what's kind of coming through for the rest of the season, I think.
See, I think with us, we've struggled since we've been back in the Football League to beat a side in the top 7. Like last season, when you was up there at the beginning of the season, we struggled to beat you. Port Vale, Doncaster.
Yeah.
Bradford's a different thingy because we always beat them anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but for us, we played Bromley a couple of weeks back and we drew 2-2. We was leading 2-1, and Bromley always come back, but you did to them what they did to us. You come back, got that penalty. So it's going to be interesting. You've got an unbeaten run. We're unbeaten. One of them's gonna. Well, we're not unbeaten, but in 4 we're unbeaten.
In 4, yeah.
Yeah, in 4. The season started when we got our first win, so yeah, we're unbeaten according to Patterson. So it's going to be interesting against that to see how we've developed. If we can come to your place and win 2-1, even just grind out a 1-0, that'd be more interesting.
Yeah.
So you've got like 2 clean sheets in a row.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be one for the neutral the weekend. I think it's going to be more blood, sweat, and tears again. But I've got one question about your team. So the things I saw over the summer that I was concerned about is like Bass was a huge loss for you.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I remember talking or listening to stuff pre-season last season, And one of the Notts County fans was like, saying that they needed to shore up the defence, they needed a good goalkeeper, and Vass come in. So, and I know you've had a few issues with the new lad that you've got in between the sticks, but how much of a risk do you think that is for you going forward?
I think so. We were on about Kelleroos and we've got Griffiths as well. We only seen him in the Cardiff friendly. He came straight on, passed the ball to a Cardiff player, and he scored. Kelleroos is probably a goalkeeper if you put crosses into the box. He's going to cost us probably about 10 goals a season. On Saturday, he went to catch the ball and he dropped it about three or four times.
Three times.
So we got away with that. But if you've got another player there, or you're playing another team with faster thinking players, that ball would have been in the back of the net, and it'd be a different story. We want to got a win.
Yeah. Because the other bit was losing McGoldrick as well. Because surely, especially considering he's come for you, for me, from a boardroom level decision, that was very strange. Because surely you just do what you needed to do in order to retain him, because his moments of quality, they were the difference for you at times, like last season. So to do without that, I mean, I get that you might become more of a team-oriented side without him, but yeah, that was very strange for me as well.
It was a strange one for me, Ari, and all of the fan base, because the fans absolutely love him. And I think last season he got 19 goals.
Yeah.
And from what I understand is that they offered him half the money he was already on. So so if you're going to cut somebody's wages by 50%, and most of the time he got injured last season was because he was playing 90 minutes. You had Jack coming off at 70 minutes, and McGoldrick still being on the pitch from starting.
You just manage it, didn't you?
And I think that's what Barnsley's doing well at the moment, managing his minutes and that stuff.
Well, that's it. Is it you're lucky to get him in League Two. It's like a fairy tale homecoming and stuff like that. And you want him to kind of see his days out there, but and now he's just tearing it up in League One with Barnsley. So you're just like, well, that was a bit of a faux pas.
Well, I mean, I think as soon as we knew that we met, I think he's not. He weren't going to retire. I think because I still think he still knows his football and that stuff, playing week in week out. So I don't think he was going to retire, but I don't think he was going to go to Barnsley, in my opinion. But
yeah.
Well, the saying over that was somebody from Notts, and this what is baffling about Roberto going, the director of football, who made that decision to let him go. Now, somebody from the club told Barnsley to sign David McGoldrick. So it's one of them, isn't it? It's like giving
your sporting director, is he left or is he resigned now? Is that
he's left by mutual consent?
Mutual consent,
yeah. So obviously, they've looked at what's happened over the summer and not been happy with it, have they? So, well, at least the club didn't want it to happen, I guess. So the person to blame, I think, in that situation, didn't you?
I mean, the thing from a fan's perspective, he was at Leyton Orient when they went out the league. He was a part of that when the Italian consortium took him over and they went into the National League. He was a part of that. But it's just like our midfield. We've got 30 midfield players on the books. I think we've got 5 defenders, 3 strikers, and 2 goalkeepers. And it's
can't catch cold.
So if you look at Jack came back last week, and if you look the week before, went to Tranmere, didn't he come back? So he was back for the Tranmere game. But if you look at it before that, we had one striker because Maitore was still getting fitness,
injured
getting fitness. There's so much going on at Notts. You've got players like Jarvis who played really well at Lincoln in the Virtue Trophy and got injured. And it's like we've got no identity before. Last season, the season before, we knew that it's going to be passing football, it's going to be patient and working. Like this season, it's totally different.
Well, we went full cycle with it all because we had Harris, who was just, again, grit, determination, 1-0 wins. And then they wanted, well, the owners kind of said, they wanted a bit more, pleasing on the eye kind of football. So we kind of went down that route with Clements, and that didn't kind of work out. And then with Bonner, and we've gone full circle back to Ainsworth, which is, like dark arts, grit, blood, thunder, all that stuff. And that's the thing is, like, I mean, from my perspective, that is our identity. That's what we've always been. And because there was a lot of talk when they come in, it's like wake the sleeping giant and stuff. And I was just kind of thinking, well, hang on, we're not a giant. We've never been a giant. We've always been the plucky underdog. And we've done quite well from that. So the fact that they've kind of turned around and aligned, and as I said, I wanted Ainsworth back when Bonner happens, and when it didn't happen, I thought, I was dreaming. Like he's too good for us, and we could never get a manager of that class, and all the rest of it. So the fact that they actually went out and reimbursed Shrewsbury for his services as well, I was like really, really impressed with that. I was like, good, at least because everything off the pitch has been fantastic since the Gallantons come in. It's just not really kind of worked out on the pitch. But even now, like, there's a different feel about the club, and there's a different feel about things this time from last year. Last year the wins were a bit lucky. I mean, they're still a bit lucky now, but it's with this now, it's that, like, you can see the effort, you can see the toil, you can see, we might be lucky in scoring the goals late, but we've earned our luck, So it's just a really positive place to be at the moment. It got quite toxic last year, but at the moment, like, just everything's going well, I think. So hopefully it continues.
I mean, as a County fan, no, go on, Aaron. Sorry.
Yeah, because I remember last year when you played us at home, I think we was top and you were second, and when you beat us, you were top and we were second. And then after that, you kind of fell off a bit, didn't you? Around October, November time and that stuff, and you was nearly relegation zone. So
yeah, we fell off a cliff. Like, that's why a lot of us, we're not crowing about anything at the moment, because we've been here like last year, top of the table end of August, and then finished 17th, I think, and that was only, we were really in trouble because, again, as I say, it got quite toxic. So the players weren't trying, the results weren't coming. You couldn't really see it. It was boring to watch as well, but you couldn't really see how we're going to get out of it. But Coleman whipped them a little bit, and then Ainsworth come in, just kind of continued doing that. So yeah.
I mean, like, when we was in the National League, we always knew if we was 1 goal down, 2 goals down, there was a chance there was that fight there.
Yeah.
And then when after Luke Williams left, and when Maynard came in, we seemed to have lost that fight, didn't we? Of, like, being able to come back. And this year it's a bit different. We ain't got that expectation neither of, like, the sort of, like, the fans. There's no expectation there, really. There's
no.
This
I think it helps.
It's so underwhelming, where you just like, oh, who's this player or who's that player?
Yeah, I think I think the fans are knowledgeable. Like, you've highlighted the squad issues and stuff like that, and you do kind of readjust for that, don't you? So you just kind of go, well, this is a transition year kind of thing. If we do right, and again, when you lose 2 players like Bass and McGoldrick, who are, like, such good quality players, and they shored you up and everything, like, to then get other people in that maybe aren't so good and stuff, like, you do kind of readjust. But like with us last year, if we went a goal down, that's it. Everyone was down. We knew we weren't getting back into it, anything like that. But I mean, I think Bromley, they looked into it. The last time we come back from, like, a 2-0 loss was just so long ago. It was like 3-4 years ago, I think. So you can see how, like, pervasive it's been throughout the club with that kind of mentality and stuff. But now, yeah, as I say, it's just a completely different feeling around the place. Like, when we beat Chesterfield 4-1, yeah, we were lucky with the 2 penalties that we got at the start. But that's the best I've seen them play for about 2 years. Like, the last time I saw them play well was against Southampton in the Carabao Cup, and they were just, it was when they were at them, they were, like, getting in first, seconds, all of it, and the fight was there. So the fact that I've even witnessed another match like that relatively soon. Like it's made me really hopeful for the future. We're a little bit spent after that, but we still managed to turn up, I think. So the effort's there for the boys anyway.
But if I remember right, didn't you beat Crew after the Chesterfield game?
Yeah, I think that was because the Chesterfield was it on a Tuesday night, I think, and then the Saturday. Yeah, the Crew game was a bit different. Like you could see that we won, but you could see they expended a lot on the Tuesday night because it was that kind of performance. Like it was a proper special night, that one.
Yeah, because if I remember right on my stats here, you got back-to-back 1-0 wins over Crewe and Oldham, right? If that's correct.
Yeah. So as I say, so the crew match was a bit different, but again, the positive thing about Ainsworth is that like we've played in 3 or 4 different manners in order to win games, and that I've always found that conversation interesting because like if you're United, for example, and you cater for the opposition, you get a lot of fans like, oh, we shouldn't be doing that. We should just be playing our own game and, all the rest of it. Whereas, like, I've always been a fan of people that tailor their plans for the match depending on the opposition. Like, you're not kowtowing to them or anything like that, but you're seeing their threats and you're nullifying them. And I watched a coaching podcast with Ainsworth on it the other day, and he described his style perfectly, which is destroy and counter. And you're like, yep. So it's like, how can we mess you up and then score from doing that? And again, like for me, it's just the kind of Gillingham mentality of like spoiling parties and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I think that's
I'm
more
guessing,
of our. Oh, sorry, Ari again.
So I'm guessing that's what Grimsby did against Man United because obviously that was a big game for Grimsby, and I don't think Grimsby would have catered for them. So I think Grimsby obviously analysed their I don't really think attacks and threats, and obviously it worked for them, didn't it? Because they beat him.
Yeah.
So, like going back to the Crew game, I remember that because I was watching the highlights of it. You score that goal, but it always seemed like he was going to score that type of goal. Crew had some really good chances in that game.
Yeah.
The post to the bar.
Yeah. Like again, with another one where we kind of ridden our luck a little bit, but again, we just never give up. Like always going and pluck it in. Like even just the experience of Sam Vokes as well, because was that when Gale scored? I think wasn't it? Yeah, Vokes headed it back across for Gale to bundle it in. So even just with Vokes' experience, like it's just invaluable. Like he's come on for the last 10, 20 minutes of the last 3 games, getting his fitness up and stuff because he's still got his broken arm recovering from. But what he did at Bromley as well, just when we did win that penalty, just took the ball away, and the Bromley players were just absolutely lambasting him, trying to get in his head and stuff like that. And then after all that had passed, he just gave it to Max, and Max put it in the net. So it's that experience that we've been lacking, and we've got McCleary as well. So I think the balance of the squad again, like Ainsworth knows what he's doing. He's got what he wants and what he needs now, and he's got that experience in there as well. And it's a lot of it is just managing games, but again, like with the never say die attitude, never giving up, and the blocks, just the effort and all of that. It pairs well for edging these type matches, and it's just I mean I'm just buzzing because it's like my team's fighting again. Like last couple of seasons, we started well last season, but it was very, very bad to watch. I remember there was one game, I think we scored in the last minute. I can't remember what game it was, but I was on my phone most of the match because it was just dull and boring. Like we were passing it from side to side, and nothing was really happening. And so the fact that I'm actually on the edge of my seat, like go on, like and we're having a go at teams and stuff again. It's just it just makes me happy.
So where do you think Gillingham will finish this season?
So I put 10th earlier because I talked about the 2 main questions that Gillingham had were how good is Ainsworth really? Because to get for a team with basically the same players from 17th any higher than 10th will be a phenomenal achievement. And the second question was like, how good has our recruitment actually been? Because there's been a lot of rumblings about how bad that's been as well. So if Ainsworth can take these players, and I mean he's doing it at the moment, I mean, it is fine margins, and we are on the right side of the luck at the moment. But if he can take them into the playoffs, that'd be impressive on my front. I said 10th. We're flying at the moment. I think most of us, again, as I say, we're not crowing, so we just want to get through September and October, and then we'll see where things are, because we've been here before. So I reckon, like, if we get into the playoffs, then I think a lot of us will be happy. But if we can continue this run and like end up top 3, we'll be very, very happy. Like, I say it's a 2-year plan, and there's a few getting excited, going, "Oh, maybe we can turn it into a 1-year plan." You know, just calm down, like, just enjoy what's going on, and yeah, we'll see where we are. So I think playoffs, because we are going to have a blip at some point, and again, as I say, these fine margins, we are going to end up on the wrong side on them, you know, at some point. But yeah, I think for me, it's more about the performances, so we can see that the team's fighting, and you know, we again, if we go a goal 2 or even 2 down now, you know, and we did ride our, like, Bromley should have been 4 or 5 up by half time at the weekend. But the fact that they never give up and they just keep going, and again, like, so Ainsworth was ready in 5 subs, and then we scored, and he's reversed that straight away and just subbed Coleman, who was injured, I think, at the time, with Kambeni. So the fact that he's adaptable and he does change things, he knows how to change games, and his subs do have like an effect, you know, on the games and stuff. It's just, I mean, when we had Clements, he was just like clockwork. 60 minutes, subs would come on, but nothing would really change. But again, what's promising with Gillingham is that we found 3, 4, 5 different ways of playing, and now that we've got some actual wingers in as well, then that's another string to our bow. So, and I think with opposition teams, we don't really have one particular style of play. I mean, I know we'll be renowned for dark arts and stuff like that, but we can play, but we can also lump it up and we can hold it up. And I think there was one match where we were under the cosh a little bit because they were pressing us from the front. So he switched things up, and I think Andrews come on and then just caused problems to them because we were just going direct. And it's knowing how to counteract those changes that other managers make as well. And I think he's just got a really good understanding of the game. And as I say, I'm really confident he knows what he's doing. Like, you know.
So talking about Saturday, then, what do you think that score is going to be at 5? At 5 on Saturday evening.
I think it's going to be a draw. I think I reckon I would probably go 1-1 because I don't think it's going to be a pretty game. I think it is going to be blood and thunder, and I think it's going to be tight. So yeah, I'll say 1-1. How about you guys?
If I was going with like my head, I'd say 2-2 draw, probably a red card apiece. So I think it's gonna. No, I do think it's gonna be one of them games where it's gonna be tasty. It's gonna be like 80s football, 90s football. You know,
so there's still, I know there's still a bit of bad blood about the Cody situation. There's nothing really on our behalf, but I think it'd be competitive, and it's just who we are at the moment anyway. So.
But my heart, my head says like 2-1. You know what I mean? It's an odds. I'd take a point. I think that'd be a good, and it'd show progression in the squad.
I mean, I would take a 1-0 grand run like on Saturday, but I think it'll be a good game. Hopefully, it's not boring.
No, I don't think it'll be boring. I think it'll be eventful, but it just it'd be a case of attrition more than anything, I think.
Right, if I have to ask you this, your stand behind the goal, the scaffolding, that's been the same for 25 years. Have you heard any news on
the country?
Have we heard any news of it? It's going to change, or?
So we barely fill it anyway. Like the only time I think that it was fully used was against Sheffield in the FA Cup last season. So whilst it's all about attendances really. So there's a bigger conversation because when the Gansons come in, they were like, "Oh, we're going to move away from the ground," because that's always rumbled in the background. Scally had a 60,000 seater stadium planned with the ice hockey team would be playing there as well, and that was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I think. But whilst the attendances are low, nothing can be done about it. But I think the Gansons are more in favour of staying at Priestfield now, so they've seen the redevelopments at Fratton Park, other places, and they see, especially like coming from America and stuff. I think they see the value in like the quaintness or like the history of the stadiums, like Luton and places like that. So, and again, like I wouldn't want to move somewhere. There's some clubs have done it right, but the one that's done it really wrong is West Ham. You don't want to move to a purpose-built stadium and it's just flat and there's no atmosphere. And part of that is because of the separate stands. So if you've just got one stand around, you haven't got like the different. Because I don't know what your ground is like, but so Rainham End is where like most of the vocal people will be, and that's where most of the scene comes and go forward. Medway stand, I love sitting in the Medway stand because it's our taller stand, and I like looking down on the pitch and seeing the formations and stuff. But again, it's a bit quieter than the Rainham End, and then the Gordon Road end is probably like the quietest out of them all, I think, and it's more calm over there. But I think I'd like to see it redeveloped, but it doesn't need to be done at the moment, and it suits us for what's going on at the moment. But I know it's a question they'll address down the line, but as owners, they generally do these things at the right time, and whilst the attendances aren't there, then it's not a high priority kind of thing. Again, like if our form continues, we'll start to pull like maybe, there's Project 8,000 going on for the weekend, so you might get above average attendance, so it might be a bit more noisy. But yeah, once the attendances go up, I think they'll address that. But again, with the Gansons, I have absolute faith that they've got everything under control, and like they learn quickly as well. So if there have been mistakes, and there have been a few, but they listen, they about face and sort it out, so it's really refreshing to be a part of as well.
Yeah, because obviously you say like with the American stuff and that stuff. What has that been like? Because obviously you got a link with America now and that stuff, the owners and that stuff. What's that been like? Like, how's it changed?
I think so. The difference between Scally and the Gannisons, they're just more open and transparent, and like there's things that you need to keep behind. Like Ainsworth's a big one for not talking about players' injuries or anything like that, and that's so you're not giving the opposition an upper hand, and I get that. So there is like a lack of transparency on some parts, but with everything else, it's like an open forum. So when things were going quite badly last season, what they did is they went on the ME7 podcast, and Joe Comper and Brad Gallinson had a proper conversation with the presenters and about what was going wrong, what was going right, and all these things. And again, it's just it's so refreshing. Whereas Scally, I think all I kind of remember is him just falling out with everybody, and then just like either banning them from the stadium, or and it was led to a very separated club, really. You want a club where everyone's together and everybody's pulling the same direction, because that's how you get results. So it's been refreshing and really nice. Like I've had my own issues over the last 10 years with work and stuff, so I've just kind of come out of that, and I've got more time to spend on the things I enjoy. So but to come back at a time like this is very, very nice. Like I had a bit of a crisis when we were sitting bottom of the league on 12 points and only scored 6 goals at Christmas, and I was like, if we go down, we're going to go out of existence. And then the Gallisons come in and turned it all around, so I'm just thankful that my club's still going. Like that's my perspective on things.
As a Notts County fan, we've been in that position quite a few times. We've been out of the league, but like being in administration quite a few times in my lifetime, and it's the worst feeling in the world when you're gonna.
You've had some mad stuff go on as well, like with Sven-Goran Eriksson coming and all that money being spent. You're a prestigious club, and the oldest club in the world, is it? I think,
the oldest football league club,
So. And your ground's fantastic.
Weird ones as well. It's one of the weird ones, because you look at all these clubs getting took over. Especially in the lower leagues and say like National League and everything else. Now our owners are totally opposite to yours. We really hear out from them. Like unless something goes off, you don't hear out, and it's like this sort of like business sort of statement sort of thing. You know what I mean? I met one of them personally, you know what I mean? Like on the way to the ground, and he's a nice person, but they're like more reserved and everything else. You don't really you don't know figure, but you look at other clubs And you think, why isn't Knots an attractive offer for another for a consortium or something to buy? You know what I mean?
It would be for me. I mean, you've got a terrific stadium, you've got the support there, which like churns out most weeks. So like there's a lot of potential there for it. I just think, yeah, like you've just had structural issues more than anything, I think, isn't it? And then you've had the odd clown come in. I remember when Sven-Goran Eriksson was there and Kasper Schmeichel was there at that point as well.
Kasper Schmeichel, Sol Campbell.
Sol Campbell, that's it. Yeah, and all this, and you're just like, and you're watching it, and you just one eyebrow raised, going, right, well, this probably won't end it well, but good luck, like, so.
You know what? Because I remember that very well. I remember it being at Sol Campbell's one and only appearance at Morecambe as he was in 1-0. And it was surreal. But you've got to put on the football authorities that somebody who was a convict buying a football club with a fake banknote and registering that with the FA and the Football League and everything else, spending millions and millions of pounds they didn't have, nearly wiped out Notts County, you know what I mean? And it could have got, like Kasper Schmeichel, I don't think he's gone on record, and you can see this on podcasts. He says he was never paid a penny at Notts. All the time he was there, was never paid a penny. Look at Sven-Goran Eriksson. He wrote off his severance pay and all that sort of stuff to keep Notts County going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like there are good people in football, but there's a lot of bad.
There's also bad people.
This is what the conversations I've been getting into with a couple of my mates and just on Twitter in general. But like the sustainability of football needs to be sorted out. Like, most clubs are running at a loss, and like that alone is just that should be alarm bells ringing. You can't just rely on benevolent millionaires and billionaires to fund like their little playthings, So I'm hopeful with the new board that's been created by the government, but then I've also said to my mates is that like I'm glad it's been created, but my worry is that it'll be run by the government. So like you need football people in there, and you need this special breed of football and financial people. So Kevin Maguire would be a really good one to put in there, to actually like get into the depths of things and to start changing things for the betterment of football. But yeah, like it's just that alone that the football clubs aren't sustainable at the moment. They need to be sustainable. Like you need to be earning as much as you're expending. Like you just need to run it like a business. And so you can't keep relying on these people just bailing you out. So hopefully, as I say, it's a positive step moving in the right direction. The amount of money that the Premier League has siphoned off and held the rest of the EFL to ransom, EPP as well, which is to do with the young players and stuff. Like it just deprives all the clubs of making a sustainable living. So hopefully that will that starts to change things in the future. But
yeah, but there's that other scandal. What not many people talk about ITV Sport. When you had ITV Digital, when all this money was promised to the clubs that everything else, if you remember it back in the video, they was paying millions for the rights, and all these clubs went out and spent money, and a lot of them got burnt because ITV pulled the plug on it and said, well, you're not getting out. And I think that was something to do with the way the Football League had done the contracts and stuff over that.
Yeah, I'd have to look into it. I do remember it, and I remember like a lot of clubs suffering because of it. But again, like you shouldn't be relying on TV revenues in order to keep your business afloat. Like I know it's part of income and stuff, but you do need to kind of try and make sure that your club's self-sufficient in that respect. But again, with the EPP stuff, like even what that will do is. Clubs would then be able to keep their local talent rather than just going to all the big clubs and stuff. So they could actually get fees for the players rather than them just transitioning to other clubs when they're younger. So that would go a small way to sort some of it out. But we'll see what they do. We don't know their agenda yet or what they're looking to fix or what they're looking to do. But yeah.
What about the EFL trophy, the virtual trophy, whatever, the Papa John's trophy? I reckon it's had its day and it needs just to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of chat on that about Twitter, and there's a lot of people calling for just National League and North and South clubs to be involved instead. I don't really know what the answer, because I think they've made them go into a silly little cup themselves, haven't they? I think as well.
Yeah.
So that would probably be the best idea, I think. But I mean, you get the kids' experience and stuff like that, but the attendances are still quite bad. I think it's just a bit confused. I don't have the answer to that, because I think the bigger picture is that football players are potentially playing too many games now anyway, and the higher clubs, they say they want to play less games, and the FA Cup, gets put to the side and stuff like that because of it. But yet they're playing more friendlies abroad to get more money. It's wrong. Like what's going on is just wrong. You can't say we're playing too many games and then take some off of the FA Cup and then put some on for friendlies at the end of the season as well. It's just very confused, and it's just not fair. You need to think about the whole football pyramid and how it survives. It's football as a whole rather than just individuals just getting the most that they can for themselves.
I think the one thing what winds me up is after 12 kickoffs on Sky Plus.
Yes.
Not on the main Sky, on Sky Plus.
On Sky Sports Plus, yeah.
So you guarantee your furthest away fixture will be on Sky
half
Plus
12.
half 12, which means you get it
or a 7.5 game or something like that.
I mean, I like that there's more games on Sky. However, the way that it worked before that, with just by paying a tenner to watch it online through your club, I think that was perfectly fine. You got to see all the matches as well, not just 8 to 12 of them,
Yeah.
So, and again, it's something that clubs should try and fight to get ownership of, because you could do a lot there for your own club, like your own commentators, your own cameras, your own, your own branding, and just get it out there for them. And I just think it's another thing they could bring in house, so they could get more revenue, so they get it more directly. But I don't know.
So because I think not to stop doing the prize play thing, aren't they? Only letting overseas supporters, if they pay something, it's is it £10, something like that? So if you're overseas, you can watch the game, or if you're in the UK, it's either Sky Sports Plus or pay a £2.50 a month to listen on the order. So
so I can't, because I live in Bristol. I can't get to all the home games. But what I do is, because German Jules lives in Germany, I subscribe to his, so at least I can see the games, because the whole point for me is to watch the games completely, see how they're playing, see what they're trying to do, so I can get a feel of what they're doing and how they're playing. And again, with some of the stuff I used to do, bet on football and stuff, is that you can see by the performances that a team's going to smack someone eventually. So you just kind of wait for those opportunities. It does that often, but
Or when you're watching a game, say if you're having a flutter and stuff, you see how momentum changes in a game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was listening to one of our Jill's podcasts the other day, and the lad was saying that we went 2-0 down against Bromley, and he put I think it was a fiver? Yeah, I think a fiver on them to draw 2-2. And he said that never in the previous 3 years would he ever have done that, because he just didn't have the faith that we could get back into it. And they did. I think got 10-1. He won 55 quid, I think. So, yeah. It matters. If you watch your team consistently, then you generally have a pretty good idea how it's going to go, I think.
Yeah.
So.
I think watching County for the last a lot of years is within the first 5 minutes, you sort of know how the game's going to go. And sometimes you're wrong, what I mean? But a lot of the time you're correct. It's
yeah, but this is why I was. I know we got a bit battered on Saturday and stuff, but that's why I was so impressed with the result on Saturday, because we were dreadful in the first 45 minutes. Worst 45 minutes we played this season. No worries, but then he left them on there. He didn't make any subs. He was just like, right, you got us into this mess. You sort it out. And we by the 55th minute, I think, as I say, he was just ready in the subs for the 60th minute, and we go and score, and he changes it. He was like, good lads, and you get rewarded by staying on the pitch. So the fact that we weathered out that rough patch again, like it just kind of, and we are chancing it a bit at the time, but just that character to like just hold on in there and then regather yourselves and then go again the second half, like because we were vastly improved in that second half, and we had quite a fair few chances as well. So like on balance, I think the 2-2 draw was about right, but we did ride our luck a little bit there.
So Harry, who's the referee on Saturday? Because Harry likes his stats.
I've not looked. Do you know?
Oh yeah, Sam Moha. Moha. Let's say that. I think it's a new referee because I was been looking at his stats and he hasn't really refereed a lot of games over it. I think he's only ref. So currently this season he had 2 appearances in League Two. I mean, given out 9 yellows, 1 red, and then throughout his whole time of refereeing, he had 5 appearances in League Two, 1 in League One. 19 yellows in League Two, 3 reds. League One, 6 yellows, so 1 red. So yeah, I think he's a quite new referee. So yeah,
but that's quite a lot of reds to be given out like in those games, isn't it? Really, where I always go into matches and you don't see them out, do you? So
that red card cat is a bit of a worry.
Yeah. I think you might be right on Saturday, Marks, with 2 red cards apiece.
I think with some newer referees, though, especially the younger ones, are there to impress. Usually, because you know how you have the observers, the referee observers.
Yeah.
Now they're called talent scouts.
Yeah.
So instead of being observers, they're looking for talent. So
well, I've been in referees and stuff like that, but you are not looking for referees to stand out. Like you're looking for referees to not be noticeable because the whole point should be the football. The attention should not be on the referee. The referee's there just to sort things out so they either don't get too aggressive or because if you don't call things up, then people get in harder and harder and people get hurt that way. But you want to let the game flow as well. But I don't know about that talent scouts.
Yeah, I mean, because we had one of them. We had one of them, didn't we? Referee.
Yeah.
It was the referee. I think it was a Bradford game away as well. And he worked for the FA and he's a talent scout. And it's like you just think, is this what the game's come to? Because a lot of games you think the referee, it's more about the referee than the actual football.
Yeah, the referee should not be the centerpiece out. Again, they should be. It should run as if they're not there, and they just pull things up and just keep it in line. They're there to like direct it. I've refereed previously in 5-side matches, 11-side matches, and stuff like that. And some of the stuff you see is just rather entertaining. But I really do think that there should be more footballers as referees. But it's just the length and breadth of the rules that it administrates the game, doesn't it? And it kind of sucks the fun out of it for me. I can referee just so that I know with the general understanding to let the game flow, but to get into it and just for it to be about the rules, that's not why I watch it. That's not why I do it. That's not not what brings me joy. But I think if more footballers could get into refereeing and then the game, because at the moment what you're seeing, especially in the Premier League, is that they're following arbitrary rules. And they're not like leveling common sense with a lot of it. I mean, was it the Fulham? Was it the Fulham goal against Chelsea? Was it?
Where, it was.
Yeah. Where he done a 360 and spun defender, and then and they called that for a foul. You're like, well, where else is he supposed to put his leg? Like the defender's put his leg there.
I think there was also another one where they disallowed, was it Crystal Palace's free kick? I think it was also against Chelsea, wasn't it?
Oh, no, it might be that one that I'm talking about, actually. I think I can't remember
when
specifically.
Scored a free kick, but apparently you're not allowed to push one of their defenders into move out the way for him to shoot. But
they extrapolated that arbitrary rule, and you're just like, right, okay, even though it's never been pulled up before. And I think that's what annoys fans the most. It's not that the rules exist; it's the consistency of the rules being applied. Because you're like, well, how comes we've not seen this up until now? You're just like, it affects the game in a negative way.
Well, it was like the goalkeeper rule, weren't it? The 6-second rule. It had been there years and years and years and years and years. Right, we'll make it 8 seconds. And after he's hold it for free, you do a visual countdown. After 13 seconds, you're waiting for the referee to put his hand up and start counting his hand, and it don't happen.
No.
You know
I mean,
what I mean?
the grounds could help with that. They could put like a timer, and you get the crowd doing it as well. That'd be rather entertaining.
Yeah, because I think I'm not sure what not. I think Kelaruski. I think it was it Bromley Own where he did it for so long and he gave the corner away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the same with, like, I don't know, kicking the ball away. Some referees are still giving it, others aren't giving it. And you're like, well, it's the inconsistency what sort of winds the fans up. Or time wasting, another one.
Yeah.
You know
With
what I
the
mean?
6 second. With the
It's
6
also
second.
like the throw-ins as well.
Yeah. What have you seen
A player.
There was, I think it was on one of the Sky shows. One of the refs was talking on there and basically saying, like, with encroachment or time wasting with throw-ins, like he said, I think it was Klamberg maybe that said it. He said, if they take too long or whatever, I just reverse it. So there's actually consequences for doing it, like, you know. So so if you had a throw-in in the opposition half and you took too long, then it just reversed and then it eases the pressure on them and stuff like that, and they'd actually suffer consequences for it. So I definitely think there's rules to be brought in that could make the game better, but they just need to be thought out and discussed a little bit more, you know?
Yeah.
And
Because we've
applied
seen it.
equally as well.
Yeah, that I was going to say about the 6 second thing with the goal kicks and stuff. So yeah, you up it to 8 seconds, and all that needed to happen was that just do something about it. Keep it at 6. Just do something about it. So, you know.
But it seems like when they bring these new rules in, every year they're clamping down on something. It's sort of a vanity project which lasts a few weeks and then gets forgot about.
Yeah, it is. I think just to refocus on the game in general, you know, just keeping in the spirit of things. So yeah, they're always going to have like it just reminds me of Football Manager where, you know, every year so like, oh, they're going to clamp down on time wasting and stuff like that every year. And you're like, right, okay, cool. And do you see it? Do you see it? Yeah. And again, the spirit of the game, it just needs to be flowing. It just needs to be not ruined. And there's so much stuff ruining it at the moment. You know, it's VAR. I see its legitimacy, but when you're depriving supporters of that moment, you know, you're like, oh, no, I can't get it. And then afterwards, it's just not the same as like being in the moment. And, you know, like, and I like the lower leagues purely for that. Like, I know we're going to have decisions go for us and against us, but at least you don't have to deal with some of the faff around it. So, yeah.
See, me and Harry was talking before you joined about the VAR because there is talks, aren't there? There's been rumorings about in the Championship, Leagues 1 and 2. And I'm saying, well, that's okay then, because then we've got the same rules which apply all the way through football, from the Premier League all the way down. Because an handball, which won't be given as an handball in the Premier League's given in Leagues 1, 2, and the Championship. But we still ain't got goal line technology, even all these years after.
Yeah, so the most important ones, goal line technology and offsides. Yeah, absolutely for those, because, yeah, you can, like, you know, just eradicate all the bad decisions. Because, again, some of the stuff that's happened to us over recent weeks, you know, there's been players that have been on but haven't been on, or, you know, it's too tight to call and stuff like that. So it'd be nice to eradicate that. But again, like with these decisions, is that they're still getting the decisions wrong. So like that the 360 one where he spun him, that was not a foul. That was not a foul. Like he just got in the way. But they're still making so it's not about VAR or anything like that. It's about the actual refereeing and the decisions being made. You know, so they need to kind of have a look at that and how to improve that on the whole. I think.
Which then I'd say in the Leagues 1 and 2 and the Championship, to have any sort of VAR structure would be a disaster because the quality of refereeing is a lot poorer
already. Yeah.
Yeah, I was posted on them a video the other day. I don't know whether you've heard anything about this or not, but like I heard rumblings that the lower leagues they purposefully mark the bad refs high and the good ones low so that they retain them. And I'm just like, I mean, I wouldn't put it past them because everybody wants decent referees, so that, you know. But the ones we seem to get in League 1 and League 2, they are I mean, just that Durkin, like the two decisions that he's made in 1 week, and you're just like, Okay. I mean, I get like from ours, I can get from where he's standing and what it looks like because it does look like he's fallen into him, but it kind of looks like his legs, and it does happen quite quickly. So I get that one, but the goalkeeping one on I think I had this discussion with someone else as well. Is that we're now seeing decisions and people getting sent off for things that are just full-blooded challenges. So it's about the follow-through rather than the actual incident itself. And you're just like, well, you can't teach players to not go in. Like, I mean, because we were always taught at school, you need to go in hard, otherwise you end up worse off. And it's normally true because, you just do yourself a mischief and you need to be both strong in the challenge, because if one's weak and one's strong, you're going to do yourself more damage. So you need that. And you need it to be competitive. But yeah, like the challenges now where they're being yellow and red carded for follow throughs and things that are happening after they've actually won the ball, they need to be having a look at that as well, because they have actually won the ball, so.
Yeah.
But football's gone from being it's very rarely now a contact sport.
Yeah.
Because you make contact with another player, 9 times out of 10, it's a foul.
Yeah.
If a player goes down, it's a foul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I watch football. Obviously, you would have, I don't know how old you are, but you would have seen like how football was a long time ago compared to as it had now. What weren't even a yellow card back then is now a red card.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's generally always been the way, because if you go all the way back to the 60s and 70s and you see some of the challenges and things, I think I saw one the other day about Gaza just basically stamping someone in the chest and he only got a yellow or something like that the other day. So that wasn't too far ago. I think it is getting a little bit too soft. Again, like but then Pep's kind of changed the way that football's played, and it's all about the football and less about. But it is a contact sport, and it is blood and thunder. And I think you take something out of the game if you take that away. And there was somebody saying recently that that they think that people will start turning away from like Premier League games because it is just too sanitized and too washed and too, it's high quality. But if you want a bit of blood and thunder, and I'll talk about the Chesterfield game last Tuesday. It's a fantastic game to watch, just because it was like I can't begin to describe it. It's just full of energy, and you're getting first to the ball, and you're in their faces, and it's just a generally front foot football match, and it was just lovely to watch. And again, like with all the passing around the back and stuff like that, and moving them side to side, is that you prefer a match to be a bit more basketball, with a bit more entertainment than just watching it to go from side to side, So, but yeah, I think I for the laws of the game, what worries me is these challenges that, as I say, it's about the follow through, so it's about the damage afterwards. You can't stop people getting hurt. Especially in contact sport, and that's the risk that you take, and that's the and there are reckless challenges, absolutely, but like you need to go in with conviction in order to win the ball a lot of the time. And again, like with some of these challenges that I've seen, it's not about them going in too hard, it's about the player being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And you could argue it's their fault for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, but they could both go for the ball. So you just need to appreciate that these things happen and just kind of, ride them out,
Yeah, I think with like local derbies, so you've got Bromley. You've got tackles flying in. We have a Chesterfield, tackles flying in. You have the Manchester derby on Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
And there'll be hardly any passion or high-flying tackles. It means a lot. It means nothing to the players on there. That they're playing a team from the other side of Manchester, or what I mean. There's more passion in the game.
Yeah.
And I think you've got less tourists and you've got less people as well.
It's more globalized. It's more sanitized, and marketable and presentable, isn't it? But I think there are a lot of things wrong with the game, and they are making it worse, in my opinion. And again, like I'll go back to EPP and stuff like that. So look at what's happening in the Premier League. Like a lot of the big clubs are having to sell their youngsters just because they want to get the cash in order to get pure profit to spend on that. That's not football. Like the whole point of football started off like, okay, the players in this region, can they beat the players in this region? It was distinctly local. And we've just gone so far away from that, so far removed. It's saddening. I mean, we've got our player, Joe Bode, who's just moved to Luton. And it saddens me, like the amount of people that have just been going like, yeah, take the money. I'm just like, what? If you can't go to your local football club and you got your local players playing there and they know what it's about, like you look at Sam Gale's interviews and he got let go by Arsenal, but he comes from Sevenoaks, I think, something like that. But they're local lads that know what it means and they've been brought up in the system. And again, like last season, at the end of the season, like one of the only good points about us was the young lads. Like they were actually trying. Like Bode put in, like, you know, he's a bit raw and he can be a bit all over the place and needs to be directed a little bit more. But he gave it his all. You know, like they were getting there for challenges. They were putting in the effort, and that's half of what football is the desire. It's wanting that football more than the other person. And again, like with all these things that are happening in our game, it's just taking it further and further away from the people that enjoy it the most. So like the local people and, you know, the real fans. And again, I feel more for Premier League clubs because you have people coming in from all over the globe watching it, and that affects the atmosphere as well. There should be like at least, I don't know, 75% of like tickets should be going to local people or something like that, you know? And yeah, these things, they do take away a lot of the emotion and the passion. And, you know, like you need the locality of these teams to come through and the identity to come through in order to make things special, like, you know. Again, some of the best I remember when we played Man City when they were down in Division 2, I think it was, and we went up there and it was lashing it down with rain as it usually does in Manchester. I think it was a draw, but again, it was blood, sweat, and tears. There were broken legs, there were red cards. They stick in your memory, like, you know, not for the injuries or, you know, the bad things that happen, but it's the passion and, you know, like the wet and windy nights in Stoke, like, you know, you still remember them, you know.
Yeah. See, what I think really like changed football, especially for like lower league clubs as well as for the ones in the top flight, is when the Bosman ruling came in.
Yeah.
Because before then, it don't matter whether a person's contract had ended, you still received a transfer fee for that player. When the Bosman ruling came in, you spend £1 million. Say Gillingham spend £500,000 on a player on a 3-year contract. You, unless he does really, really well, and somebody comes in and says, right, we'll give you 1.5 million to him, you might as well write that money off. That 500 grand off.
Yeah.
So it's like every year, say like Jatta or like Mytora, I think we paid 300 to 400k for him. So he's already like a year in. He's hardly played. He hasn't scored. So once his contract's up, he can just walk out the club and go and play somewhere else. And that money, it's a write-off.
There's definitely risks to play. I think that could be counteracted by just managing your business properly, though. So, like, again, since the Gallinsons have come in, like Gale and Bode done pretty well last season. They tied them down to like longer contracts straight away. And again, that was a level of professionalism and forward thinking that we hadn't really seen before. Yeah, granted, because maybe we didn't have the money to do it and that. But again, it's just running your business properly. So, but I get what you're saying with the Bosman ruling. I think you have to think about the players as well. I mean, what's happened with Isaac is just wrong. Like we're getting to the stage now where contracts are just being broken and nothing's being done about it. So that's not right either. But with the Bosman, I think if you want to run your contract down and go elsewhere, then it's fine. I do understand that. And again, as I say, you can kind of circumvent it a little bit by just running your business properly. But then again, you're relying on your ownership in order to know how to run a football club and run it well. Like, you know, and again, that's a skill set in and of itself that's very, very rare, I think.
But you're talking like in the say like Premier League, you're talking they're paying hundreds and hundreds, 130 million for a player, maybe on a 4-year contract. That's a lot of money plus his wages a year. And at the end of it, especially like Isaac, he might think in 2 years, Real Madrid come calling, right, I want to go there. I'm just going to sit here now. I don't want to play. They try and force a move again. It's that power. Because Van Hooijdonk did it at Nottingham Forest back in the late 90s where he went on strike.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Yeah, I think there's definitely been a context of like how to go about it, because you've had Eze and Gray, like, you know, do it that way, which is the right way to do it. You got a contract, you just keep on doing what you need to do, and you'll get your move eventually if you want it elsewhere. And then there's ones that, you know, haven't done it the right way, in Visser and Isaac, and, you know, but then surely, like, as a club, I know, like, when you with the top talented players and stuff like that, you are going to suck eggs a little bit with some of it. But like, as a club, I'd be like, do I want that player playing for me? Because they could likely do that to us when they want to go elsewhere, like, you know. So
yeah,
is
because
it
I think
what happened when when it first came in? There was a lot of clubs like, so right, you're not signing a new contract. You'll sit on the bench the rest of the season. You won't play again. So yeah, that's got out to football a bit now, especially in the lower leagues.
Right in the reserves, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, well, it's more to do with human rights and stuff like that, and treating people fairly and stuff. But there's that's a shift in the world, and there still needs to be consequences for actions. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, because I think Mbappe did the same thing when Real Madrid came calling for him. I think when they finally made that offer, I think Mbappe wanted to go to Real Madrid, so I don't think he played for PSG. I think he still did, but he didn't like play with the same passion and that stuff.
Yeah, well, it does affect you, doesn't it? But
yeah.
But then again, you're a professional. You should be professional.
How many days? Referees should be professional, but they're not.
Yeah, well, that's do you know what? Talking about referees, the thing that that upsets me the most is they have the opportunity to like come out and just go, yeah, I made a mistake there or whatever. But then it's still, especially with football, it's still run like a boys' club, like, you know. And you've heard, I think, was it Paul Durkin or something? I can't remember which one it was, but they basically said they didn't want to do something because it would have affected one of their mates, like, you know. And you just like, you can't be thinking like that, like, you know. You need to, your refereeing for the rules in the game. You should be honouring the rules rather than, you know, club for your mates, like, you know. So that's the bit that concerns me the most. If people just kind of, again, because you shut down proper discourse around it, because people stop talking to you because you're not getting the truth or honesty out of them, like, you know. You just roll your eyes and then move on to the next one because you can't do anything about it. So in order for the things to improve, there needs to be genuine openness, honesty, and transparency. And I think they're scared about saying they've made a mistake, but we need to change the conversation and understand that everyone's human and everyone makes mistakes, and you just need to be like, yeah, you know, that was a mistake. But what you can't do, or what I've found in refereeing anyway, is that if you made a mistake there, you can't then correct it by making another mistake down there. So like, you've made a wrong call for one, a wrong decision for one team. You can't correct it by ignoring a wrong decision on the other team, like, to even it out, like, you know. Because what happens is that they just lose respect for you as a referee, you know, like, rather than anything else.
I don't think that in that situation, right? I don't think it's so much that the referees don't want to come out. I think the FA, there's big problems with the FA with refereeing. As a manager, you can't say no to a referee. You can't come out in an interview afterwards and say what you like. As a player, you can't neither. You can't go to the likes of Twitter and say what you're feeling after a game about a refereeing performance. The referees are overprotected. They make a mistake. You can see they make a mistake, whether it's League One, Championship, League Two, National League, because every game is filmed. So for it's like they're untouchable, and it's like there's no explanation for everything.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Like, I understand why they do it, because they don't want to. Again, it's a difficult enough job as it is. and they want to protect them a little bit because, again, yeah, like you get idiots that death threats and stuff like that for wrong decisions, and it just, and you get pylons on Twitter and stuff like that. So I understand like doing that, but at the same time, there should be a forum whereby you can talk about things sensibly. So like they say they can go and see them in the referee's dressing room afterwards and stuff like that, but it will take like a neutral area to all talk about the things and just to have a sensible discourse about it. That's what you're after. You're after about, because again, like it's all subjective as well because of personal experience and stuff like that. But you need to be able to have the communication effort so you can talk your way out of it. And I think the frustration is just when you get to like a hard wall with it and just go, that's just the way it is like that. That's when things break down.
But I think with like the Premier League, they've got Ref Watch now on Sky on Monday morning, I think it is. So they're looking at like refereeing decisions. They've got an ex-referee or the head of refereeing on there, and they're saying, yes, this is a mistake. PLMO come out and say this is a mistake. But we're not that lucky down in the lower leagues when a referee makes a mistake. For somebody to come up and say, yeah, we know this referee made a mistake, because the FA are just so like that.
I think so. Again, I'm quite pragmatic around it. So I still haven't formulated my opinion on this fully, but like for what you gain from the mistakes. So, for example, you are going to get the emotion of like celebrating a goal, and it's like you just have to look for the offside and stuff like that, and you get that. That's more important to me than is it more important to being right? I don't know. Again, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one to get, but yeah, I really don't know what the answer is. Because from one side, you're arguing that you want to preserve the experience of what it is, and that's what a lot of people go to the games for. It's the moments, isn't it? You don't want the moments ruined by going, oh, hang on, let's just see if that's all correct and that's all gone through, and you can celebrate twice. But again, you want to lose your mind. You want to celebrate an ugly bloke next year that you've never even spoken to in the last 5 years. You want to do all these things.
Yeah, because you go on about that. Say, I think we had it before last season a couple of times where we scored a goal, 6 seconds later, the referee put us his flag up. Well, the liner puts his flag up for offside. But if he's not sure, why is he putting his flag up?
Yeah. Again, those rules just kind of need to be ironed out more consistent. Like, I don't, with the VAR stuff, is that I don't really, because you need to, they can't act because you want the players to play on, and then you can review it afterwards. But at the same time, like, if people don't know what's going on, then you can't get an accurate perception of what's going on, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I think the offside rule is overcomplicated now.
Yep.
It's so complex. Like, I know from my day, offside was if you was level, you was offside. If you was behind the player, you was onside. We're going back a long way.
Yeah.
The old offside rules. So you had to be in front, this side of the defender. You couldn't be
Clear
level,
daylight.
or you was off. Or you was offside. If you was level, you was offside.
Yeah.
So you always had to be that side. So look how far it has come from then. What it is
just
now.
What if you can score with this body part? Then if it's further than the other body part. Yeah, I think just for entertainment value, my opinion on that is that I think it was in the like 2000 something like that, where if it was about feet, right? So if your foot was behind the other player, and what that led to is that led to more goal scoring opportunities, because you'd have a defender that would be more static, and the attacker, like, fully orientated to be running in that direction. So it actually led to more entertaining football because you had to accommodate for that a little bit more. And I think that's what it should be. It should be about feet and whether they're onside or not like goal scoring body parts, like,
Yeah.
Well, it's like the handball, isn't it? As long as if the goal stands, as long as it's you who handled the ball before it was put in the net, and you're like,
Yeah.
So handball's all right as long as you don't put it in the
You
net.
don't.
with all of that is overcomplicated. I think, but then what doesn't help is that you've got different rules in different, seemingly different rules in different leagues as well. So, like, they had the rule in Europe whereby it didn't really matter whether it was you meant to handball it or not. If it's actually hand, that was it, and it was just a blanket rule, and it kind of like kiboshed all of that. But at the same time, that isn't right because to be what's the word I'm looking for?
Deliberate.
To be no. To be scolded. No, mine's gone back. But to be punished for like an accidental thing when it was ball to hand rather than hand to ball. That's unfair as well. So yeah. We could talk about all of this like until the cows come home, couldn't we? There's so much.
We could.
So much.
So we've talked about what you think the score will be on Saturday. We've talked about where you think Gillingham going to finish about 10th. What happens if you're like there and you do like a Notts County, what Notts County have done the last couple of seasons? You stay in the top.
Fall off,
the top 1, 2, 3, 4, down to 6, and then you fall off. You finish 14th. Is that a disappointment or is that an improvement?
It would be a disappointment, wouldn't it? Because I think for anyone, if you're there for most of the season, then you drop out, it'd be pretty galling. But I think with a lot of the fans, as I say, it was quite toxic last year, and a lot of the fans were just calling for a complete squad overhaul. They weren't fighting, they weren't doing this, that, and the other. So Ainsworth's come in, and he's kind of been like, these lot are all right. I don't think it is the players that are the problem. So he's worked with them and sorted them out and stuff. And I think he's still, again, not Nostradamus or anything, but I think they will do. I don't think they will drop off because the way that he manages and the way that he handles people, like there'd be a bit of a blip, but he's such a positive motivator, and like he definitely puts the people management into man management. So, like, it would be a disappointment. But he said, so he said it's a 2-year plan. And if things go awry this season, as I say, he's backed the players, and he said that from the beginning. He said, like, I've got their backs and they've got mine, etc., etc. And one of the nicest things that I saw at the Bromley game was Ainsworth and Woodman were having a bit of a set two afterwards, like talking about the game. And Max Clark, our left back, actually went over to check that Ainsworth was okay. like, you're all right dealing with him. But yeah, so he's backed the players, they backed him, but if things don't go right this season, then it will start to come back around to what a lot of the supporters have thought, and that it's the players. So as I say, I'm waiting for Football Manager to come out because they generally have like the right stats on the contracts and stuff to have a proper look into them. But I think there's quite a lot of our squad that are just on 1-year contracts, so that if it doesn't go right this year, then they can clear house a little bit. But again, I don't think, as I say, the feeling around Gillingham is that, or the feeling that I get is that there's just a bit more about us. There's a bit more tenacity and a bit more strength. So I'd be very surprised if we did do what we did last season and drop off to 17th. But yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. But it would be a disappointment. But again, I think the owners and everything around it, they've got things in place to address it if it doesn't go right.
Yeah.
So again, it's about having that faith towards those that are running your club, so.
I mean, from our perspective, anywhere which ain't bottom 2 is a bonus. That's how the expectation is.
Yeah.
In the Notts County fan base, there's very like underwhelming like transfer window, underwhelming managerial head coach appointment.
Well, yeah.
And it's one of them. It's like, but could that be a winning formula where everybody's like sort of wrote us off? Like, oh, well, Notts are going to finish mid-table. They're going to finish 40, 50, 60, 70. Is that going to be like the way we get up this year by being the way we've been.
Yeah, well, it's like it's tapping into what you said earlier, is that the communication around it, and it just doesn't seem like there's a solid plan. So at least with us, is that we can see that year on year on year, things are getting better, and even our attacking options, and stuff like that, and you can see the progress being made. But with you guys, it's a bit of a stop start kind of thing, isn't it? And like you thought you'd done, like you were all right last season. It was just or the season before, it was the goals conceded, and you sorted that out, so you was relatively okay last season. But then, the weird goings on with losing Bass and McGoldrick, and then the reshuffle about the new board of football, wherever it is you got, and then Patterson coming in and being that manager that potentially nobody else would take because it is that structure, again. But you say about lack of communication. I think things would be okay for you, like if you're like, well, what is actually going on? Like, you're taking it in this direction and stuff, but what is the general plan? And acknowledgement of, I mean, you can read in between the lines with your sporting director going, and then, but then it's who the next person's coming in and what they've done. And as you say, like you highlighted that the sporting director was part of the Leighton team that, went down into the non-league, and you're just like, well, hang on a minute. If you've got someone that's coming up through the non-league and managing League Two and done a lot of good work on that aspect on the way up, but you've got somebody involved there that was in a kind of relegation scenario, so it doesn't really bode well, does it? I feel for you, because again, it's the lack of plan and lack of transparency and stuff. And again, your team this year, again, I didn't realise the squad issues with lack of defenders and stuff, but it's hodgepodge in it and just patched together, and there's no you're just like, well, that's wrong and that's wrong and that ain't going right and this ain't going right, and stuff like that. So you just do, because you've got the potential there. Your fans are great. The stadium's great. You've got all of that going right for you. So you should be higher up in League Two for sure. So probably
But
Championship. I would have thought.
our owners did come out and say, we have got we've got a squad that is better than last season's, and as fans we don't see that.
No,
we think it's a lot weaker than last season's squad.
I think a lot of football fans are generally quite well educated because they're seeing it week in, week out and stuff, and when they're coming out and saying that, and you kind of like, well, it's not, again, you just kind of lose respect for them a little bit. Again, just losing Bass and McGoldrick alone, someone that scored 19 goals and the one that stopped them going in the other end, and then not really kind of getting in those replacements is just absolutely huge in and of itself.
I think a lot of, maybe I understand the data a bit more than like some of the fans younger than me and probably older than me does. With our owners owning like Football Radar, which is like what supplies data to football betting companies and that stuff, it's like we're so data driven with the models. There's a great podcast by, I think it's Not the Top 20 podcast, which has got Luke Williams on it. Listen to it, it's really good. And he talks out when we was in the National League, they analyzed every single game and ran it through a data model and worked out what was going to happen in the game all the way through. Like with the playoffs, we're 2-0 down against Bournemouth Wood, weren't we? And they're running a model, and they're supplying data to the managers in real time and saying, well, we can win this. So there's like Luke Williams. It's a really good, interesting interview to podcast to go and listen to. And he's like, even at Chesterfield in the final, we're 1-0 down after 5 minutes, but their model's saying we're winning that game. Now we did win on penalties.
Oh yeah, we did.
But it's this how much the data's so much involved in what the two brothers do and how the club is run and how they will get a player in and stuff like that. So they've got this model, AI model, whatever they're using, whether it's for players and they're putting a player's stats through it and he's playing X amount of games in some virtual machine and it's covered up. Well, he'll score you. How many times does it come up and he scores you 20 goals a season? So I think a lot of fans are quite disconnected on that side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I get the value of data, and you just basically you're making sport more science based, aren't you? But then this is where, like, I draw back to Ainsworth as well, and you got, like, the eye test. Are they actually doing it? And you get all these stats, but there's certain unquantifiable things that you just can't, like attitude, or work rate, or work ethic, or moral value, like all these things that, like, behind. And again, Ainsworth said about players coming in is that he wants specific character types, like, and it is about character more than stats and stuff. But additionally, like, I've drawn the England team, so what people don't really realize is that with sport, and especially international level, it's not really about any of that. It's about the team, and it's about getting that mood. I mean, I watched the Wales documentary from, I think it was 2016, the other day, and they were likening it to just basically like boys going on a holiday, like, and it's that spirit and that togetherness. And again, with what Ainsworth's done with his players, is that he's got them talking and finding out about each other, because when you know the person next to you and what they're going through, or their family, or what motivates them and stuff like that, and you're going to fight harder for them because you don't want to let them down. And like, I've played with my boys for, I think it's about 12 or 13 years, and we're talking about potentially getting the band back together again for one, like, last season. But we get back together because it's the memories that you create with each other, and it's not about we don't win, lose, or whatever. It's about that. And so, yeah, the England, I mean, England had done well against Serbia, like, midweek. But the one thing that I worry about is that it's the team harmony. So Southgate went through 96 and 98, and those are the last two tournaments that we played really well in. And he brought that through the England team. Yeah, more caution, stuff like that. But I think he got the team ethic and the camaraderie right, which is why we done quite well in those tournaments. Went on a bit of a tangent there, but can't remember what the original question was either. So.
No,
sorry.
not could I? It's one of them, with the England squad, like, that you will see. This is, I think, this is where fans sort of disconnect. You see, the individuals on a Saturday in the Premier League bombing around and everything else, but when you watch, say, like, I've watched England live at Wembley Stadium, and it's like so slow, laborious.
Yeah.
There's not this fast movement like you see in the Premier League. What's the difference between like watching Notts County? What is the difference between like international football? Because if you think, a lot of international sides are quite slowly paced, or what, you know what I mean? So hitting them like really fast and being that high tempo and everything else, you'd thought England would do better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the blood, guts, and thunder. But again, like, if you're marauding like that, and you get caught out the back, and like what Gareth kind of figured out is that a lot of tournaments are won on defenses and not conceding more than, like, scoring. I think. But the thing with international football is, again, too many games. They're knackered. And I think, like, the one in America in the summer would be interesting because of the heat. But, like, you can't go blood and thunder and, like, how we played against Chesterfield on the Tuesday night, or, because it's the heat. You just you can't do it. So again, that's another thing that's going to be interesting to see with Tuchel's side, is that how they're going to navigate all of that. But yeah, the international level, everybody's knackered. They're playing too many matches, and like, they're not getting enough rest. And it's again, with the tournaments, they happen at the end of long seasons. So like, I think the Qatar World Cup was actually one of the best, one of the better World Cups that I've seen, and I think it was because it was mid-season, so everybody's fresh.
Like in November or December,
yeah. So, and you still had the heat and stuff there, but it's definitely something. I mean, I like the tournaments being in the summer because it's part of our culture, and in a pub garden, sun shining, like all that. So I wouldn't like to see it move for that reason. But what you want is, you want things to work for the betterment of football. and you do want to watch the best football with the players at their freshest, like, you know. So, yeah, yeah, they're just they are playing. But again, going back to what I said earlier, is they're playing too many games, but you can't say that they're playing too many games and then playing friendlies after the season's done or before the season's done. Like, you know, it's just it's counterproductive. So,
see what I think with England, the squad, and I question this, is like the desire. They're putting on that Three Lions shirt.
Yeah.
Do a lot of them players actually want to be there? You know what I mean? This is the thing with the money in the game now. Bearing in mind, you go and play for England. Your match fee, you donate that to the FA's charity. Yeah, you get a cut of whatever percentage between all the squad of like the sponsorship and stuff. So is that desire, if you're a multi-millionaire, which a lot of the England squad are, is that desire still the same to play and put that shirt on?
I'll put this another way. If you were a millionaire and a billionaire, knowing how much like you like football and you care about football and you're passionate about it, how would you feel playing for England? You'd feel exactly the same because it's more than money. Like I think that's another thing that Gareth got right, is that there was an aura around the England team for quite a while where they were scared, like, of going, of failing, of, you know, doing that. And I think he just made the environment a little bit more fun and a little bit more together. And so that's why they played. But they fought for each other more than anything, because the football still wasn't great. But they fought for each other and they were solid, and they kind of got through. But Tuchel's side against Serbia midweek, that was quite impressive. So, like, I don't know what he's doing or how he's doing it, but it seems to be ticking on. But again, that it's the whole set of factors with how you're going to deal with the heat, how you're going to deal with the, you know, like, you've played a long season, how you're going to keep things fresh, how you're going to keep the camp together. I mean, if he, and that's partly why Henderson he's in there, I think. So they've got the more senior England players kind of managing the perhaps the culture or the togetherness and what they do. So that's more down to the players, because again, I think he's retained Henderson in there because Henderson was there under Southgate and he knows what kind of went on there. So they're trying to continue that kind of element to it, so they don't lose the togetherness of the team and stuff. But Tuchel's just putting in his football knowledge, know-how, and tactics, which seem to be working. So, but that's just the kind of one game. Things are kind of like looking okay now, but yeah, you're going to be. I mean, I remember going to see a Green Day gig at Wembley. And I went with my mate Steve, and Lisa was there as well. And me and him were just gawking in the middle. And she was like, what are you two doing? And we were like, well, this is it. This is what it felt like playing for England, because, you know, you had the crowd all around you and we were standing in the centre circle. And you're just like, wow, you know. And I think, I don't really think it matters how much money you earn. That feeling playing for England would still be the same if you're as patriotic. And
I don't think it means as much, because if I was like playing for, say, Notts County was in the Premier League, right, and I was their main striker, I was about to fall off and say laughing. Right, so I was in there figured out I'm on like say 200k a week, and I played all season. I've scored 40 goals. Right, this is all fair. This is all in my dream.
Yeah.
And then you get an England call up, and you're like, oh, I want to go to set the wife and kids away.
Just got to sit home watching Curry. No, don't work that.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's like, do you know what I mean? Are you there because you've been called up, because you want to be there, or you feel like you're forced to be there in some sort of way? Like there's an expectation. England come calling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's always going to be an expectation, but I just think, I mean, I've dreamed about Gillingham a lot, but the best dreams are, you know, when you're playing for England and you're on the wing, you're coming in, you score, you know, like last minute, you know, that'd be there for a load of lads. I think it can. Money can definitely distort things and stuff, and you might be, again, if you address the tiredness issue and stuff. So if you're playing too many games or whatever, but no, I refuse to believe that it wouldn't matter. You know, I think that's the idealist in me.
Right, Harry, you got out to finish on?
No, not really.
It's been nice having you, and good luck
Yeah.
for Saturday.
Yeah, lovely. You both going to the game, or
Harry's
I
going
am.
to the game.
nice?
I'm going to be probably on TikTok or something, and yeah, biting my fingernails and toenails while the ball's coming off the post, Roos is dropping it, and everything else like that.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and
You're
all the best for
welcome.
Saturday.
And you
Yeah, you too.
See you in the future.
see you in the
Yeah.
future.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.